Well, SABC News Reporter Mbalenhle Mthethwa was at the scene for us in Tembisa earlier. She's back now in studio with me here in Auckland Park to run through what we've seen in the last few hours. Mbalenhle, good to see you. Let's talk about the suspension announced by the mayor. Has it been enough to basically calm the people of Tembisa and basically bring an end to their planned shutdown?
Well, what happened immediately after the suspension was announced is that the crowd dispersed and many left. But there were those who remained, and there were those who were unconvinced and who are not sure what this means. And they are seemingly feel as though, you know, this is they're mistrustful of the process, obviously, at this point. But it's unclear as to whether the protest action will continue. However, the suspension is a step in the right direction. There are plans that are being put in place to ensure that the surcharge is actually scrapped in its entirety. However, it's been a long day. The residents did protest for most of the day. Later on in the day, you would have seen people leaving and maybe the protest action not being as violent as it was in the morning, but in the afternoon it was a lot safer to move around in Tembisa.
And you mentioned, Mbalenhle, some residents not being entirely convinced that the mayor will come forward with a resolution that works for them. Even when he arrived to address them this afternoon in Tembisa, it was clear that a lot of them were not fans of his. I'm just trying to work out where the general sentiment now lies in terms of faith in the Ekurhuleni Metro coming up with a solution.
Well, I'm not sure if if residents don't have faith in the mayor per se, or they just don't trust the process. Now, the mayor explained that the surcharge will need to be removed by way of a vote in council, because the amount was actually budgeted for, and the budget was passed in council. And in order to reverse this whole surcharge, they need to go through and follow the same processes and go through council. So right now, residents are asked and are being requested to come forward and sign a petition that will then be presented before council. This will then enable them to, the mayor and his executive, obviously, to go in to council and present their argument that this surcharge should be removed. And that is what people are not trusting. People are not sure if this process will indeed yield the results that they are hoping will eventually come out of the process.
Because ultimately, the challenge is that Mayor Xhakaza has not presented the cancellation of this 126 Rand fixed charge, right? It's only a suspension for a number of days, in fact.
Yes, so it's a 14-day suspension. But during the 14 days, residents are expected to participate in a process to try and get it scrapped. Yes, they are demanding for the process to be scrapped. However, there are processes, and they need to understand that the processes need to be followed the same way processes were followed in order to bring this surcharge about. So that's the biggest point of contention here, you know, because how these things happen in municipalities, you have what you call IDPs, and these are public consultation processes where community members are engaged on what they want to see and what could possibly come out of the budget and everything. And it would seem, and you see the mayor admitting to the residents that even though we've gone through that public consultation process that every municipality goes through, it would seem as though the message did not get to everyone, and there is a sense of unhappiness, right? And we then saw an emergency meeting taking place in the late hours of yesterday to try and find a solution, and the solution was that this process needed to be, the tariff rather, needed to be suspended to allow for a process that would then enable them to present an argument before council to remove it and get it completely scrapped. At the moment, the mayor does not have the executive power and authority to just scrap it and, you know, discontinue it, because it was done through council, approved by council.
And Mbalenhle, just lastly, and very briefly, please, now that there is going to be this period, or at least the mayor has encouraged the people to, in this 14 days, sign this petition that will go to council to hopefully get a reversal of this decision or have these this fixed rate brought down, is the sense that the people will actually participate at that level?
Well, people have started participating. One community leader came with an envelope full of pieces of paper which are believed to be petitions that people had already started signing from as early as this morning in some parts of Tembisa. And obviously this means that other community members would also need to participate in the process and sign this petition, and also so that this can be passed on to the office of the mayor and start so that he can start this process. So it's unclear as to whether people are confident in these processes, because, you know, a lot of the time community members believe that, you know, the power are only vested in the executive, and that even the president has the power to reverse a tariff hike by NERSA, you know, and they just don't understand that, you know, there are processes that need to be followed.
It's not a unilateral decision on the part of the mayor.
Absolutely. It's not a unilateral decision, but this is an attempt to assist residents who are complaining about not being able to keep the lights on because electricity has become very expensive. Some of them are also complaining about other issues, and some of those issues include historic debt. Some of them are asking the municipality to scrap that historic debt. They're also complaining about what seems to be a historic billing issue and also service delivery challenges. So there is an element of, you know, this being a build-up of a lot of other issues that have left residents unhappy in the past.
Mbalenhle, thank you very much for that. Mbalenhle Mthethwa, SABC News Reporter.